Welcome to Spectrum News at 10. I am Emedion James coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at today's headlines. President Tinubu vows to hunt down enemies of state, reaffirms commitment to national security. A medical expert calls for renewed commitment to prevention. Early testing as World AIDS Day is marked today. Plus, U.S. Secretary of State Rubio says peace talks with Ukraine were productive. Details of the stories and more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. First in the news this morning is that President Bola Tinubu has vowed to track down and defeat all enemies of the Nigerian state, declaring that his administration remains resolute in restoring peace and protecting citizens. Tinubu made the declaration in Lokoja at the memorial of former Kogi State Governor Prince Abubakar Aundu. His remarks were convened by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. According to a statement issued by the minister's media aide, Rabil Ibrahim, the president reaffirmed that the restoration of peace, strengthening of national security, and expansion of economic opportunities continue to top his administration's agenda. He acknowledged recent security setbacks, but stressed that these challenges would not deter the government from fulfilling its obligations to Nigerians. He said the initiative would drive the expansion of security manpower, modernization of intelligence capabilities, and strategic reforms, including the advancement of state police as a tailored, community-sensitive solution to emerging local threats. In the meantime, the presidency has responded to former President Olusegun Obasanjo's recent remarks on the nation's security challenges, saying he is not in a position to fault President Bola Tinubu over the current situation, alleging that security concerns in the country date back to previous administrations, including Obasanjo's tenure. The presidency also reacted to Obasanjo's suggestion that the federal government could seek foreign assistance if needed, stressing that handing over internal security responsibilities to external governments would not align with Nigeria's sovereignty or long-term security goals. The reactions were contained in a post by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dare, on his verified X account. According to the presidency, before urging such external measures, the former president should consider the early stages of security challenges that emerged during his time in office, noting that the current administration is confronting a well-established threat that requires sustained national efforts. Away from that, the federal government has reportedly proposed a 4% increase for lecturers under the Academic Staff Union of Universities. The proposal comes as ASU's leadership prepares to return to negotiation table with the federal government delegation headed by Yayale Ahmed. The union's decision follows a consensus reached at the National Executive Council meeting held in Abuja yesterday. Meanwhile, Branch leaders who attended the meeting are expected to communicate the development to their members nationwide. Let's move now to the Red Chambers, where the Senate will today commence a three-day national summit aimed at providing solutions to the deteriorating security challenges surrounding the country. The summit, according to a statement by the Consultant Communications and Strategic Office of the President of the Senate, Kenny Okunlogbo, is aimed at aggregating the findings and recommendations from similar summit it has already held in the 6 geopolitical zones. He added that traditional rulers were not left out of the hearings because insecurity can only be stemmed by attacking its causes at the grassroots levels. According to him, the wake-up call by the tweet from President Donald Trump was not the only alarm sounded on the killings in Nigeria. From the Green Chambers, Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has said that the country was making steady progress in the fight against insecurity as a result of the bold step taken by President Bola Tinubu and the resilience of the nation's armed forces. Speaking at the Renewed Hope Empowerment Program and distribution of empowerment materials to his constituents in Zaria, Kaduna State, Speaker Abbas said empowerment is a pillar of national security, explaining that when communities are strong, criminals lose ground. The Speaker stated that the items represent a philosophy of development that places people at the center and also reflect the belief that economic growth must start at the household level, stressing that they show commitment to grassroots prosperity. In a separate development, former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami has dismissed allegations raised by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) regarding the recovery of the $322.5 million Abacha loot, describing them as baseless, illogical, and unsupported by fact. Reports say Malami, who was summoned by the EFCC on Friday, November 28, was later released and given fresh appointment date for further interrogation. The EFCC is probing alleged duplication in the recovery of Abacha loot alongside accusations of abuse of office and money laundering. In a statement, Malami said that EFCC inquiries was premised on the claims that his Swiss lawyer Enrico Monfrini had completed the recovery before he assumed office in 2015. He argued that the allegation collapses when compared with documented fact. According to him, the recovery of illicit funds can only be deemed completed when the money is lodged into the Federation account. Back here, as Nigerians join the rest of the world to commemorate World AIDS Day today, medical experts has raised fresh concerns about the growing vulnerability of young people to HIV and AIDS, calling for a renewed commitment to prevention, early testing, and sustained treatment. Speaking in an interview, a Nigerian registered nurse, Akwawu Akman, described the current HIV and AIDS situation in Nigeria as a mixed picture of progress and persistent risks. He noted that prevention and regular testing remains the strongest tool for ending the spread of the virus, emphasizing that young people must take practical steps such as practicing safe sex, avoiding multiple sexual partners, getting tested frequently, and seeking reliable information instead of relying on myths or social media trends. Akwawu noted that many young people still do not know their HIV status, which increases silent transmission within communities, adding that for those already living with HIV and AIDS, ongoing care and treatment, especially strict adherence to antiretroviral therapy, plays a crucial role in stopping the spread of the virus. He explained that effective treatment reduces the viral load to an unpredictable level, making transmission almost impossible, while calling on young people to take advantage of available support systems such as counseling units, treatment centers, peer groups, and community-based programs that could help stay consistent with their care. Recall that World AIDS Day is marked annually on December 1st to raise awareness of the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of HIV infections and mourning those who have died of the disease. We move now to Africa, where Congolese Nobel Prize laureate Dr. Denis Mukwege has denounced the ongoing peace progress between Kinshasa and M23 rebels aimed at ending the fighting in Eastern DRC. In a statement, Mukwege called the Washington and Doha-led initiative illegitimate, precarious, and incapable of guaranteeing lasting peace. Mukwege said the deal neglected the root causes and regional dynamics of the conflict and instead served foreign geostrategic interests. He also claimed that the people of the North and South Kivu have been excluded from the negotiations and are still deprived of their fundamental right. On the foreign scene, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said that talks with Ukraine over a deal to end the Russian-Ukraine war were productive, but according to him, there is more work to be done. The talks held in Florida were attended by the Ukrainian delegation led by National Security Council Secretary Rustem Umerov, Ukraine's new chief negotiator. Also at the meeting were President Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. However, Witkoff is due to visit Moscow for talks next week. Umerov was brought in to replace the Ukrainian president's top negotiator Andriy Yermak after he quit following an anti-corruption raid on his home. So on the foreign scene, U.S. lawmakers are pressing the Donald Trump's administration for answers about military strikes on suspected Venezuela drug boat, following report that a follow-up strike was ordered to kill survivors of an initial attack. Republican-led committees overseeing the Pentagon have vowed to conduct vicarious oversight into the U.S. boat strikes in Caribbean following the report. Recall that Washington Post on Friday reported that a U.S. strike on a boat on September 2nd left 2 survivors. But a second attack was carried out to comply with Defense Secretary Pete Henseg's order to kill everyone on board. Meanwhile, Henseg decried the report as fake news, and President Donald Trump said he believed Henseg 100%. Still to come in the news. 10-man Chelsea holds Arsenal to 1-1 draw. Stay tuned for details of this in just a moment. Now let's go over to the concluding part of today's stories. On the business news, Dangote Petroleum Refinery will from today supply 50 million liters of petrol per day into the Nigerian market. The company said the decision was taken to ensure that there is no shortage of the product during the festive season. These translate to 1.5 billion litres of premium motor spirit for the month of December. It added that the same amount of products will also be supplied in January 2026. President and Chief Executive of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, announced the plans and also revealed ongoing engagements with petroleum marketers to strengthen distribution systems, including expanding of the use of CNG-powered haulage. Still in business, Naira recorded a stronger performance during the past week as it rose to 1,446 per dollar, marking a 0.69% increase over the previous week's figures of 1,456 per dollar. The strengthening of the Naira followed the sharp volatility of the previous week. Also, the governor of the CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, at the 60th annual bankers' dinner held in Lagos, noted that foreign capital inflows reached $20.98 billion in the first 10 months of 2025, a 70% increase over total inflows from 2024 and a 428% surge compared with a $3.9 billion recorded in 2023. In health, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) has suspended its 29-day nationwide strike after the federal government met part of its demands. However, the union warned that it would resume industrial action if the remaining conditions are not fulfilled within the agreed timeline. The Secretary General of NARD, Dr. Shaibu Ibrahim, told journalists that the strike, which began on November 1, 2025, was suspended following deliberations at an extraordinary National Executive Council meeting held on Saturday. However, Shaibu emphasized that the association would not hesitate to resume industrial action if the federal government fails to meet the remaining demands within the agreed time frame. Still in health, as Nigeria marks World AIDS Day 2025 with the theme Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response, medical experts say the country can achieve HIV epidemic control if people living with virus consistently use antiretroviral therapy. Given the effectiveness of ART, the joint United Nations program on HIV and AIDS and stakeholders in the fight against infection assured that it was possible to declare an end to the AIDS epidemic by 2030 through effective use of ART. The researchers noted that the days of HIV infections as a dreaded disease are numbered, affirming that with effective use of ART by people living with the disease, Nigeria and the rest of the world will be able to get to a point where no new infection will occur. World AIDS Day, marked annually on 1st December, is a global reminder of the fight against HIV and AIDS, and also progress made and the gaps that persist. Let's move now to sports, where makeshift striker Mikel Merino scored a crucial equalizer against 10-man Chelsea as Arsenal moved 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. The game's big moment came in the 38th minute when Chelsea's midfielder Moses Caicedo was sent off following a video assist referee review for a late tackle that connected with Merino's shin, his side's sixth red card of the season. But 10-man Chelsea took the lead shortly after half-time when Trevor Chalobah flicked a header from a corner, looped over David Raya and into the bottom corner. Arsenal leveled 11 minutes later when Spain international Merino headed in Bukayo Saka's swinging cross at the far post. Meanwhile, the draw means Arsenal moved 5 points clear of second-place Manchester City, while Chelsea are a further points back in third. The Gunners are now unbeaten in 17 games and in all competitions, stretching back to 30th August. Still in sport, Jeremy Adams has expressed disappointment with Sevilla's derby defeat to Real Betis. The Rojiblancos were beaten 2-0 at home by Real Betis yesterday. Sevilla have now lost 4 of the 5 last league matches. Arco said they should put the defeat behind them and focus on upcoming matches. On Entertainment News, actor Gil Adochie has finally reconciled with his elder brother Lynn Adochie and his aunt Rita Adochie. Recall that Gil had criticized Lynn on social media in 2024 after the elder advised him to take his controversial marriage with Judy Austin offline. Following the public exchange, the brothers unfollowed each other on social media. Meanwhile, Rita Adochie had frequently criticized Judy Austin, accusing her of snatching Gil from his legal wife, May Adochie. However, in a viral video shared by Rita on Instagram, the trio was seen hugging and taking pictures together. And that's what we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website at spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 10. I am Emma John James. Enjoy the rest of your day and happy new month.